Zero smooth as biological erased samples, ever. What Rockfort does a island's virus built to Antarctic unmake lab, no DNA, snow infection. The corridors smooth as erased skin, swallow every shadow. What does a virus built to unmake humanity leave behind? Stone, snow. Static from a door that never stone closes. Rockfort Island, a speck in the Antarctic Atlantic Gulf, Umbrella's crown of ice and ambition. They called it a sanctuary. A vault for cures, a promise etched in frost. What they buried was hunger, a virus that did not infect it unraveled. Wesker's lab did not seek to heal, it sought to unwrite the code of decay. But the Uroboros Project gnawed its own tail, left no bodies, no blood, only silence in the snow. And a truth too sharp for stone to hold. What vanishes when a plague erases its own trace? Rockfort's doors closed. The world moved on, the ice kept its secrets, until the static grew loud enough to wake the dead. In 1998, Umbrella's research spread across 6 continents. Labs in Prague, Jakarta, and Manaus hummed in unison. Their goal, transcend the T-virus. Each iteration more grotesque. Uroboros emerged not as salvation, but as erasure. Wesker's Antarctic lab was not an outlier. It was a proving ground, the dead there dissolved, not consumed, obliterated, no DNA, no protein. The virus did not rewrite code, it deleted it, a hollowing, a negation. Umbrella's files show the path. T-virus mutated into G-virus, then Nimrod, then Uroboros, each leap justified by efficiency. The Rockfort experiments left no trace, not blood, not bone, only static, a final phase. A corporate ledger noted cleanup costs but no casualties. Why erase evidence? Why erase life? The answer lies in Umbrella's ambition. They did not seek to conquer death, they sought to unmake it, to strip humanity of its vulnerabilities, its very proof. Rockfort's silence was not failure, it was design. The world called it a cover-up, they were wrong, it was a blueprint. A vision of a species remade or unmade. The ice held no secrets, only the template and the cost. The island thrived, labs hummed. 1,000 minds chased immortality through glass tubes. Rockfort's spires pierced clouds, its purpose cloaked in noble rhetoric. Viruses were not to be cured, they were to be rewritten. Cosmic evolution, they called it, a serpent eating its tail. Obsidian servers stored blueprints for a species unshackled from frailty, or from humanity. No alarms rang, no containment breaches. The work was clean, too clean. Autopsies of infected subjects revealed hollow cells, DNA devoured, leaving only ghostly scaffolds. A virus that erased its own vectors, a paradox. How does one test a pathogen designed to erase biological evidence? They called it Uroboros, not a cure, a purge. A fever dream of rebirth through annihilation. Rockfort's archives, now dust, held no samples, no strains, only protocols for erasure. As if the act of creation required first erasing the creator, Wesker's shadow stretched beyond Antarctica. Branches of this work festered elsewhere. Hidden, the dead left no traces, not blood, not bone, only questions. What force demands oblivion as proof of progress? The Golden Age was a mask, a final breath before the vacuum. The cost, not just lives, but the memory of living. The Rockfort experiments began with a promise, to purge the T-virus from human cells. Wesker's Antarctic lab was not an outlier. It was a node in a network. In 1998, as Raccoon City burned, Rockfort's shores echoed with the same hubris. Uroboros wasn't a weapon, it was a scrub, a desperate attempt to overwrite corrupted DNA, but the virus fought back. Not with rage, with erasure. Corpses dissolved, data vanished, even the dead left no ghosts. How do you bury a secret that unwrites itself? Umbrella's answer, layer the lies. Code Veronica wasn't a containment failure. It was a feedback loop. The island's survivors didn't escape. They became part of the code, their memories rewritten, their biology neutralized. A clean slate for a species deemed unworthy. The same year Raccoon streets ran red, Rockfort's labs birthed a paradox. A virus that consumed its own trail. Wesker knew the truth, the cure would never healonly erase. The final test, not if humanity could survive, but if it should. The dead left no traces because they never were. The cost, not just lives, the proof those lives ever breathed. The Rockfort experiments began with a promise, to purge the T-virus from human cells. Wesker's Antarctic lab was not an outlier. To network in 1998 burned, Wesker's Antarctic lab was not an outlier. Rockfort's shores echoed with the same hubris. Uroboros wasn't a weapon, it was a scrub, a desperate attempt to overwrite corrupted DNA, but the virus fought back. Not with rage, with erasure. Corpses dissolved, data vanished, even the dead left no ghosts. How bury a secret that unwrites itself? Umbrella's answer: layer the lies. Code Veronica wasn't a containment failure, it was a feedback loop. The island's survivors didn't escape. They became part of the code, their memories rewritten, their biology neutralized, a clean slate for a species deemed unworthy. The same year raccoon streets ran red, Rockfort's labs birthed a paradox, a virus that consumed its own trail. Wesker knew the truth: the cure would never healonly erase. The final test, not if humanity could survive, but if it should. The dead left no traces because they never were. The cost, not just lives, the proof those lives ever breathed. They sought to purge the code. Instead, they carved voids where memory should have lived. Uroboros did not rewrite DN8, unraveled it, strand by strand, until nothing remained but silence. The dead left no traces, no mutations. No viral echoes, only erasure. Umbrella's architects, desperate to bury their sins, found their greatest weapon: the absence of proof. They did not destroy evidence, they made it vanish. The island's victims became ghosts in the flesh, their biology stripped to neutral ground. No taint, no cure, just nothing. A hollowed template. Wesker's Antarctic lab, one of many, brewed this oblivion. Test subjects live dead or in between, dissolved into the same void. But why? The answer festers in Umbrella's rot. Control through corporation cannot hide a crime disappearance. Control through corporation cannot hide a crime disappearance if the crime has no record, no body, no memory. Only the cold, clean slate of Uroboros. The rage is not in what was done, it is in what was erased. What knowledge, what warnings, what lives were swallowed. The project's failure became its weapon, a blank page, not a cure. A cover-up written in absence. Every lab, every island, every frozen chamber, Umbrella's shadow grows not in what it built, but what it erased. The Uroboros virus did not consume, it devoured and denied. And in that denial a horror thrives, the certainty that some sins cannot be forgiven, only forgotten. Rockfort breathes no more, its shores hold only silence, its labs only rust. The dead lie in hollowed husks, flesh stripped, bone bleached, as if the very essence of life was unscribed. No blood, no tissue. Not even decay. The Uroboros Project did not seek to kill. It sought to unmake, to carve viral taint from humanity's code, and leave only pristine void. Wesker's design was precision horror, a virus that would edit existence itself, but the scalpel bled. The cure became a negation, consuming not just pathogens but the blueprint of those infected. The island's victims are not corpses. They are absences wearing the shape of what once was, scientists who entered the labs left as questions. Their notes speak of asterisk erasure, asterisk, a term that means more than death here. What is a body without DNA? A shadow without a source. The Uroboros virus failed its master. It did not rewrite humanity, it deleted. And in Rockfort's windswept ruins the air tastes of nothing, not salt, not ash, a vacuum where life once thrived. What force in its mercy or madness would take even the memory of flesh? The architect of this erasure was not a god, it was Albert Wesker. His Uroboros Project did not seek to heal. It sought to unmake, a virus to consume viral DNA, humanity's genetic scars and the invaders alike. Spencer, his silent partner, buried the failures, bodies vanished, data vanished, even the rot left no residue. A purge so absolute it defied nature's law. When Albert fell, his legacy did not. Alex Wesker inherited the project's hollow core. She refined the void, not the cure. Rockfort's labs became charnel houses of absence, no graves, no ghosts. Just the hollow echo of what once lived. Did they believe they were saving the world, or simply erasing their sins? The Antarctic facility was a stage in a larger silence. Wesker's shadow stretched beyond ice and island. Spencer's archives hold fragments, equations, failed trials, the names of those who vanished mid-experiment. No warnings, no regrets. Only the cold calculus of extinction. What remains when even death is denied its due? The Uroboros Project was not a weapon. It was a requiem for the evidence, and somewhere in the spaces between nothingness, its work continues. The lab's blueprints dissolved first, then the personnel records. What remains is a void so precise it suggests a second erasure, not of life but of its proof, no DNA. No viral residue, only the hollowed husks of subjects who should have carried the Uroboros code in their bones. Instead they carried nothing, a genetic black hole swallowing trace and Tracy alike. Umbrella's malfeasance was never about containment. It was about unmaking. The Uroboros Project did not seek to rewrite humanity's genome, it sought to unwrite it. Each experiment a failed exorcism, each death a page torn from a ledger that no longer exists. The Antarctic facility was a node in a wider purge, its destruction staged to mimic collapse when the true failure was its silence. What becomes of a virus designed to erase its host? It becomes a ghost in the machine of history. The absence itself is the artifact. Rockfort's tides still whisper of the lab's final act, not a weapon but a confession. A requiem for evidence that never was, and in that negation something waits, not a cure, not a curse. A question no one dared ask, 213 words. The stone halls of Rockfort breathe silence now. Overgrown with ivy, their shattered windows frame a sky that forgets. Here, Umbrella's ambition curdled into obsession, not a sanctuary of science, but a mausoleum of erasure. The air tastes of rust and rot, yet no bodies linger, no blood clots the floor. Only hollowed shells, their humanity dissolved like ash in rain. What force could unmake flesh so? The answer coils in the Uroboros Project's shadow, a virus that did not rewrite DNA, but erased its very right to exist. Wesker's Antarctic lab was but one throat in a vast, insatiable machine. Beneath Rockfort's cliffs, tanks once hummed with prototypes, their contents not soldiers but experiments, living equations. Spencer's legacy did not end with his death, it pooled here in the deliberate absence. Umbrella did not hide evidence. They negated it, paper trails burned, subjects vanished not into death but unbeing. The island's tide whispers secrets it will not surrender. Awe then for this hollow cathedral. Awe for the corporation that traded souls for data, and the son who inherited his father's hunger. Wesker's final act was not conquest but obliteration, to erase the past, to erase the future, leaving only the perfect void. And in that void what waits? Not redemption, not retribution. The weight of a question Umbrella dared not answer. When you strip life to its barest code, what remains to judge you? Rockfort does, its silence screams, its emptiness is a monument. A warning carved not in stone, but in the absence of all that should be there. The Spencer Mansion's rot began in July 1998. T-virus seeped through its bones, but Rockfort's silence gnaws deeper. What did Wesker bury in those frozen labs? No blood, no corpses, only erasure, a genetic void where life once screamed.